Hello and welcome to HBM's Crypto Corner for Wednesday, January 8th, 2025. We have quite a few things. We have a chock full show for you guys today. So let's get started. Texas man's photo of Black Panther creates buzz. Wildlife experts say it's not possible. Gerald Hall of Huntsville's photo of a black feline raised a lot of eyebrows when he posted it to Facebook identifying it as a panther. Texas wildlife officials say it's probably a house cat. Panthers in Texas? One local man in Huntsville says it's true. Gerald Hall, who lives in the city about 70 miles north of Houston, snapped a photo that has prompted a barrage of questions on social media and follow-up articles in national news outlets. The grainy photo, posted to Facebook on Saturday, appears to show a dark-colored feline that's larger than a house cat and has a long tail. Well, we've officially spotted a panther on our property, Hall wrote on the post. While Hall did not immediately respond to USA Today's request for a comment on Wednesday, he told the Houston Chronicle that the photo was taken from around 120 to 150 yards away, and he estimates the animal to be between 80 and 100 pounds. Growing up, I've heard screams like a lady before, but typically those are bobcats or lynx, Hall told the newspaper, adding that he previously saw a black panther 9 years ago chasing a herd of feral hogs. And here's the photo in question. Now, what is that? Is that just a house cat? A common house cat? Or could it be a black panther in the Lone Star State? Wildlife species say there's no such thing as black mountain lions. The Texas Parks and Wildlife Department is debunking Hall's claim, saying that there is no such thing as a black mountain lion, officially known as the puma concolor species. The species has many different common names, including puma, cougar, or panther. However, the department's mammal specialist told USA Today that melanistic, dark-skinned jaguars and leopards do exist, but of course neither of those are in Texas. Well, it sounds to me like, quoting Richard Dreyfuss from the movie Jaws, that they're going to ignore this particular problem until it swims up and bites them on the ass. Pardon my language. If there are black panthers in Texas, then the public has a right to know about them. Of course, wildlife officials they're going to take the official stance. Oh, there are no black panthers here. They've taken that stance here in this state, in Mississippi, for years as well. To note, though, there can also be melanistic bobcats. Jaguarundis, like jaguars, have not been confirmed in Texas for many decades, said Dana Corrales, adding that the last documented jaguar in Texas was in 1948. Corrales believes the animal in the photo to be a house cat. The officer said that it is hard to confirm the animal species given the image quality, but it is certainly not a mountain lion based on the tail length. Size can be tough to tell in photos, and unless you have a good reference, apparent size is often misleading, Corrales said. Well, what is it? Is it a common house cat or is it a black panther? It's hard to tell from that distance, to be quite honest. But if there is a black panther running around in Texas, and let's say it attacks a human and kills a human, then I would think that the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department would bear a bit of responsibility for that, for not allowing the public to know about it. They would bear some responsibility for the death if, God forbid, a death does occur because of a black panther. or any kind of a mountain lion in the Lone Star State. We just hope that it doesn't come to that there won't be any sort of casualties from this sort of thing if there is a Black Panther running around in the Lone Star State. Now here's a sad case. 2 Oregon men die from exposure in the forest after they went out to look for Sasquatch. This was in Stevenson, Washington. This occurred around Christmas time. Very sad. 2 Oregon men were found dead in the Washington State forest after they failed to return from a trip to look for Sasquatch, authorities said Saturday. The 59-year-old and 37-year-old appear to have died from exposure, the Skamania County Sheriff's Office said via Facebook. The weather and the men's lack of preparedness led the office to draw that conclusion, it said. Sasquatch is a folkloric beast thought by some to roam the forest, particularly the Pacific Northwest. The 2 men were found in the heavily wooded area of the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest, which is about 150 miles, 240 kilometers northeast of Portland. It's a very sad story. This is why you need to be prepared when you go out in the woods, especially in cold weather. It was cold, there was snow on the ground, therefore they should have been better prepared. Now we don't know who the 2 gentlemen were, but one of them was 59 years old, the other was 37. So who knows who they were? I mean, were they well known in the Bigfoot community? I don't know. They were looking for Sasquatch, apparently. This has led some to, you might say, speculate, well, maybe Sasquatch got them. No, I don't think so. No, they died of exposure. We don't need any conspiracy theories, thank you very much. They most likely died from exposure. That's what the Sheriff's Department says. I know I said a little bit under the weather, don't I? I may have a bit of a cold. May have some congestion problems too. So y'all just bear with me. I am a bit perturbed by this line. Sasquatch is a folkloric beast. Well, obviously to those of us who are witnesses, it's not folkloric, but to the rest of the world it is, because Sasquatch have not been proven to exist. So therefore, we have to kind of take the slings and arrows from the media and from the general public until Sasquatch are brought in and found to be real. And until that time, unfortunately, we're going to have to deal with lines like Sasquatch is a folkloric beast. But it's a rather sad story. This should prompt people to realize that going out in the forest is no joke. Go prepared. Make sure you're nice and bundled up warmly. Make sure you've got ways to contact emergency personnel if you get in trouble. And be careful. For God's sake, be careful. In a bit of book news, especially on Daniel Perez's upcoming Bigfoot at Bluff Creek book, prices have been set for his book. It's only going to cost you a grand total in the United States of $39.54. $39.54. Now that's a damn good price. That's a fair price, I think, for a book that's going to be picture heavy and color heavy. $40 is a bargain For the rest of the world, it's going to be $50. Now, I don't know if I told you guys last week about this, but the only way to get in on the ground floor of the first 352 copies of this book, well, you have to be a Bigfoot Times newsletter member, first of all. And I just re-upped my subscription the other day, so I'm good to go. And two, you have to send an email to Daniel after 12:01 a.m. Pacific time on February 1st of this year. So for all you night owls, make sure you're up and sending an email to Daniel Perez 952 at sbcglobal.net. I think it's going to be a really great book. I think it's going to be a game changer, really, as far as how we look at the Patterson-Gimlin film and the film side as well, because there's supposed to be some rare photos by a late and little-known researcher today named George Haas. Now, George Haas founded the Bay Area Group, which was an organization dedicated to studying Bigfoot in California. And members of that group included Warren Thompson and Alan Berry. And Archie Buckley as well. So, this should certainly be a collectible book for all of us. He's only printing 1,000 of them, by the way. So I would get in on the ground floor now if you want to get a copy. Fortunately, the first 352 are already going to be spoken for, hopefully by the end of February 1st. Now I'm crossing my fingers hoping to get a copy of it myself, one of the first 352 copies. So, just remember, and I'll continue to give reminders to you guys as the date comes up. We're a little less than a month away from it. But I'll continue to give you guys reminders to make sure that you can get in on the ground floor of getting at least one of the first 352 copies. Once those copies are gone, then you won't get the exclusive copy, but you will get a copy of it after that. But only $40, damn good price. Exploring the World of Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and Yeti, a book collection. I was thrilled to come across a video on the Sasquatch Archives YouTube channel featuring a vast collection of books about Sasquatch, Yeti, and related creatures. The video, titled Bookmania 2025, showcases hundreds of books, emphasizing the cultural phenomenon that Bigfoot has become. The video's creator, Todd Prescott, he's on screen. You're saying he remains anonymous. No, he doesn't. He does not remain anonymous. It was Todd Prescott. Has amassed over 600 books on the subject, acknowledging that there are hundreds more out there. They emphasize that whether or not you believe in the existence of Sasquatch, its impact on our culture is undeniable. From fast food chains like Burger King and McDonald's to postal services in Canada and the United States, Bigfoot has left its mark on various aspects of society. It's a really good video by Todd, and I highly recommend it. And hey, it's no wonder he was named the 2024 Bigfoot Times Bigfooter of the Year. It was a well-deserved appellation for him, that's for certain. And speaking of books, and speaking of Bigfooters of the Year, Dustin Severs, the author of The Abominable Snowman of California, was named as the 2024 Coalition Bigfooter of the Year. The Coalition for Critical Thinking in Bigfoot Research. Much like Daniel Perez picked Todd Prescott for his Bigfooter of the Year for his Bigfoot Times newsletter. A well-deserved appellation for Dustin. His upcoming sequel will cover that grand period of the Patterson-Gimlin film, and the finishing stages now, October 2025. Read my Amazon review and find product links below. And this is the Abominable Snowman of California. Even though the book was released in late 2023, it qualifies for 2024 because that's when the book actually got out there and into the hands of readers. It's a great book. I really enjoyed it myself. I just reread it not too long ago. It's a really great book. I really highly recommend it. Especially for those who want to know the early history of the phenomenon of Bigfoot in America. It's quite well done. It's skeptical, yes, but it's enjoyable nonetheless. Dustin really doesn't inject a whole lot of his skepticism into the book, to be quite honest, except near the end. And even then, it's a bit of reserved skepticism. It's that skepticism that says, well, there's always the possibility that there's something out there. But Dustin's word is, I have to see some evidence. He'd have to see some evidence in order to be able to be convinced. I mean, according to him, so far, the evidence just isn't good enough. But again, he's reserved as a skeptic. He wants to believe. He's open-minded at least, which is good. Anyway, I highly recommend getting this book. It's on Amazon. It's one of my favorite books of all time, and I really enjoyed it. It's highly recommended. And here's another one from Todd Prescott. Explore the fascinating world of Bigfoot. Start your magazine collection today. Now, he covers all different kinds of magazines, from classic to modern. Some of the more modern magazines devoted to Sasquatch or Yeti or any of its other hairy hominoid cousins. If you're a Bigfoot enthusiast, you'll be thrilled to know that there's a YouTube channel dedicated to all things Sasquatch. The Sasquatch Archives recently posted a video showcasing their magazine collection, and it's quite the sight to behold. The video, titled Magazine Mania 2025, features the channel's host, Todd Prescott, sharing their extensive collection of magazines that feature articles about Sasquatch, Bigfoot, and other related topics. The host, Todd Prescott, mentions that they've been collecting these magazines since 2016 and have made similar videos in the past. They emphasize that their collection has grown significantly and they want to share the beautiful covers and artwork with their viewers. As they flip through their collection, they showcase a variety of magazines, including some that are quite rare and unique. The channel's host, Todd Prescott, encourages their viewers to start their own collection, emphasizing that it's a harmless and exciting hobby. Squatchable.com, say it with me, Todd Prescott. That's the host's name. He's not anonymous. It's Todd Prescott. I'm teasingly saying this to squashable.com, but they need to do their research a little bit better, I think, before they go into saying, oh, the host or the anonymous host. No, it's Todd Prescott. Period. Get it together, squashable.com. Now here's something unique. Ohio homeowners Bigfoot encounters, injured creature, intimate feeding exchanges. The Bigfoot had been shot. Half its face was missing. Yikes. A homeowner in rural southeastern Ohio had an unexpected visitor that changed their perspective on the creatures that inhabit their woods. The witness, who prefers to remain anonymous, shared their encounter on the YouTube channel Buckeye Bigfoot. The witness had been experiencing issues with animals getting into their garbage cans, so they took measures to secure the lids. However, the persistent intruder managed to remove the bungee cords and concrete blocks securing the cans. One day, while hanging Christmas lights, the witness heard the distinctive sound of the garbage can lid slamming against the back of the can. Curious and cautious, the witness decided to investigate from the safety of their roof. They spotted a brown, hairy creature digging through the trash cans. When the witness yelled at the creature, it looked up, revealing the left side of its face, which appeared to have been shot and was in a state of severe decay. The witness described the creature as having opposable thumbs, not paws, and moving on two legs. They were certain it was not a bear or any other known animal. After the initial shock, the witness felt empathy for the injured creature and decided to leave food out for it. Sheesh. Can you imagine seeing a Sasquatch that is injured like that with a half a face gone? Jeez. I wonder how the creature lives. Because it's not like they can get medical attention. That's amazing. And it doesn't seem like a detail that somebody would make up either. Seems like it's pretty credible to me. It sounds like a pretty credible report. This is from southeastern Ohio. I wonder if Mark DeWorth has heard of this. I don't know for sure, but it's interesting, isn't it? Quite fascinating. Could it be true? I think so. Like I said, I don't think this is something somebody would make up. I could be wrong on that, though. I've been wrong in the past before. I'll be wrong again in the future. This just doesn't seem like something somebody would make up. Not to me, anyway. Now here's one from the LochNessMystery.blogspot.com website. Nessie Review of 2024. With the year just about to end, as it just ended, it is time to look back on what happened at Loch Ness in 2024. Beginning in a backwards fashion, there were recent headlines that this was one of the lowest years for sightings of the Loch Ness Monster. One headline said, "Mystery as Loch Ness Monster sightings tumble," with Gary Campbell's sightings website registering just 3 encounters, but 2 of these were sonar related and the other was a traditional in situ surface report. That one solitary encounter was claimed by a Canadian couple on April 4th, according to this newspaper story. The Loch Ness Monster has reportedly been sighted for the first time in 2024, with a family claiming to have caught compelling new evidence of the elusive creature. The official Loch Ness Monster sightings register has endorsed Perry and Hannah Malm's claim that after they snapped a photo showing an identified presence near Urquhart Castle, a known hotspot for Nessie enthusiasts. The Malms, along with their children, were visiting the loch for the first time when they encountered the mysterious figure. Perry recounted the moment saying, "Shannon spotted the black head of an animal bobbing up and down. I was a total skeptic before, but now I think there must be something there." The couple took this photograph, which I admit has a certain familiarity about it. Looking back in time, various pictures have been taken from the waters near the castle of small solitary objects. I think of the Locke family in 2018, Matt Coughlin in 2020, Jeremy Chudley in 2019, and so on. Some of these pictures did not make it into Gary's register, perhaps recognizing there is some permanent feature there, such as a pipe or something, though that does not automatically invalidate anything seen in that area. Whatever the image shows, a single snap is not really sufficient to make a judgment on this object. The two sonar images show a recent shift in highlighting such image types. I covered the one taken by Shuan Sloggy on the 27th of September, which picked up an unusual object from the Spirit of Loch Ness cruise boat, image at top of article. The article is here, but in summary I said that it wouldn't do to brush off such contacts as interference from other boats without further inquiry. That would be this image right here. The problem being that critics do not produce comparison images from Loch Ness vessels of what sonar interference really looks like on a screen, be it a passing boat or reflections from the size of the loch. I do not recall seeing such interference images when I was on board watching the screens. I think the software on such sonar imaging devices eliminates such patterns, though I cannot be sure of that entirely. So I regard that image as a genuine mystery. The owners said the data had been sent to the manufacturers for further analysis, but 3 months on, I'm not aware of anything coming out of that, but another sonar hit was made by the deep scan boat owned by the Loch Ness Center on October 3rd as shown below. So, a very fascinating article about what happened in Loch Ness history and Loch Ness Monster history in 2024. Only one possible sighting. A couple of sonars, and that's about it. Kind of a dearth of sightings for 2024. Let's see what 2025 brings us. On the trail of Scotland's mysterious big cats. We've heard of England having big cats. But Scotland, which is known for the Loch Ness Monster? It's almost 45 years since a big cat native to the Americas was captured in the Scottish Highlands. The female puma, later nicknamed Felicity, was caught by a farmer frustrated by a series of savage attacks on livestock. He set a trap using a cage baited with a sheep's head. But was the puma really to blame for the killings of an unwitting participant in an elaborate hoax? And why did big cat sightings continue after she was caught? Torn apart, lying sprawled in a glass display cabinet in Inverness Museum and Art Gallery is the preserved body of Felicity. Back in 1980, when very much alive, she was prime suspect for sheep attacks in and around Cannock, a community on the fringes of Glen Affrick's vast area of hills, lochs, and woodland. Journalist Ian MacDonald was a reporter for the BBC at the time. It all began a couple of years before with stories of big cats. People were seeing them, and sheep and other animals were being found apparently torn apart, their bones smashed, he recalls. And this is the preserved body of the giant puma. Ian says some people were skeptical of the reports while others convinced there was something out there. He says it was a little like Loch Ness Monster. You might or might not believe in it. Ian says local police were interested to a degree. Then word came that a farmer, Ted Noble, had trapped a big cat. Mr. Noble had lost livestock to attacks himself and reported seeing a large cat stalking his Shetland ponies. The media descended on Ted's farm. It was a circus, says Ian. There was this poor beast in the cage snarling and hissing at everybody, and a crowd of journalists, photographers, and cameramen all milling around. It was a bit bizarre. So, We have a big cat caught on the Scottish Isle, but wasn't responsible for the deaths of cattle and livestock. A later post here says that there were a few red flags. Experts described her as elderly, tame, and overweight. She also had arthritis. Some suggested she was a pet, either abandoned or even used to hoax Mr. Noble. Felicity was taken into the care of the Highland Wildlife Park near Aviemore. Ian interviewed the park's owner, Eddie Orbell. Eddie said this beast hasn't been in the wild half an hour. It's been fed and well looked after. She actually passed away in 1985. She lived out the rest of her days at the park. But there were big cats seen after that in Scotland. So if Felicity is not responsible for these deaths, what is? Another big cat, perhaps. I wouldn't be surprised. So apparently the British Isles are known for this sort of activity. Quite interesting. Australia's Bigfoot watched over the small town of Kilcoy for decades. Then one day it disappeared.
You ever seen a yowie?
No, I haven't. Never seen a yowie. I've been here over 30 years, came here for a visit and never left, but I've never seen it.
I think it's a load of crap. There's no such thing.
Have you been looking?
No.
And how would you describe a yowie?
The yowie are big, hairy, probably half ape-like, half human-like, but taller and more upright.
I'd say a yowie would look like a hairy man or like some kind of yeti.
Go down the park, you'll see the sculpture of one, so that's what everybody's imagination has.
And how tall are they?
I'd reckon probably 6-7 feet, 7 foot.
Yeah. And do they smell?
Probably. If it's hairy, then it probably smells, you know.
Kilcoy, Australia. The small town of Kilcoy is not the site of the first or even the most recent yowie sighting, and hunters of Australia's version of Bigfoot are no more likely to see it there than anywhere else in the country's vast, rugged bushland. Yet for decades, a vacant-eyed replica of a towering hairy beast has stared into the distance from a plinth in the center of town. It's a monument to an astonishing encounter almost 45 years ago, one that Tony Solano says he'll never forget. To this day, I'm still convinced. Take it to my grave, said Solano, who hasn't spoken in any detail about what happened for 20 years. Kilcoy is home to just 2,000 people, and there were even fewer on December 28, 1979, when Solano and a friend, then both 16, spotted something scary and almost inexplicable in the woods. They didn't know what it was at the time, but the incident became folklore and a draw card for tourists to the small rural community, set in rolling hills about 1 hour north of Brisbane in the state of Queensland. In March 2022, despite being securely attached to the plinth, the whole thing disappeared, referring to the statue. Apparently, the statue is still missing, I think. But this is a rather long article about the yowie from CNN.com. and a witness who claims that he saw one. Interesting. Coast to Coast AM's craziest cryptid cases of 2024. Often overshadowed by their hirsute brethren Bigfoot, strange and mysterious creatures that comprise the cryptozoological world and beyond made their fair share of headlines in 2024. Legendary lake monsters in Vermont and Argentina, baffling bipedal figures in Chile and Cancun, and British sightings of a dog man and a downed big cat were among the many peculiar stories involving unidentified or uncanny animals that left us scratching our heads this past year. With that in mind, here are the craziest cryptid cases to cross our desk in 2024. Game camera photographs mystery creature at British Wildlife Park, and that's this photograph. Hydrophone captures echolocation sounds from Lake Champlain monster. Couple reports dogman encountered infamous haunted British forest. Dead big cat seen on side of road in England. Strange bipedal creature seen watching hikers in Chile. Security camera films shapeshifter transforming from dog to person. Hundreds descend on Japanese village to search for legendary cryptid. Goblin film scurrying across road in Mexico. Sri Lankan officials they debunk photos claiming to show nightmarish creature in national park. Kayakers encounter legendary Argentine lake monster El Nahuelito. Bizarre mystery creature photographed by trail camera in Texas. Eerie humanoid figure frightens beachgoers in Cancun. Those are just some of the unusual stories as far as cryptids are concerned from 2024. Finally, this is an article from Squatchopedia.org. This is D.W. Lee's group or site, and he talks about Roger Knight's, and he published, and I'm glad he did. He published Roger Knight's 26 Reasons Why Bob Hieronymus Could Not Have Been Patty, or Queen Kong, as it were. A Tale of Two Suits, 26 Reasons Hieronymus Wasn't Queen Kong. This was in 2005, so we're talking nearly 20 years ago. This is based on Greg Long's book, The Making of Bigfoot. Now I think this can also be found originally in Roger's review of Greg Long's book. But D.W. Lee, he has done the work for us. Instead of trying to search out this review, we can just go to this page here and check it out for ourselves. Which is pretty convenient if you ask me. And pretty neat and pretty cool. So I'll let you guys take a look at it. Now, saying the PG film could still be a hoax. I'm saying it could still be a hoax and not have Bob Hieronymus and Philip Morris involved in it at all. Not saying the PG film is a hoax. I'm just saying if it could be a hoax. There's a possibility. It could also be real. We don't know for sure. That's why I suggested several months ago we should be neutral on the Patterson-Gimlin film. Because we could wind up being wrong about it. You never know. I hope not. But there's always that possibility. And that's going to do it for this week. We want to thank you very much for tuning in. You guys are the heart of the show. I always say that, but I always mean it. And I will continue to do this as long as you guys want me to. And this is 10 years now we've been doing this. Well, I say we, I mean you and I, as in you, the audience. Especially all of you who are loyal watchers and listeners. So thank you. I appreciate you guys. So we're back to Wednesdays as per usual. We're back to being on Wednesdays. Now, I'm going to try and have HBM's UFO Corner back next week. I don't know what I'm going to talk about on that one, but it's going to be back. So be on the lookout for that. And until next Wednesday, y'all be good or be good at it. This is HBM's Crypto Corner.